Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
This number here, 49, 59, is that the decibel? Hare Krishna, 77. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Ballabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Ballabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Banachari Jamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories. I can't look on playing the musical instruments because I get too distracted. I'm not a very good musician, so if you, I don't notice. I've got no idea what's going on. When I'm playing and I'm dancing, I have to move my feet in order to help me to realise if I got the time or not. And Korma was really heavy on me about timing. I was playing the Wampas once and he was leading the kirtan. You know Korma? In Melbourne. And he turned around and he raised his eyebrows once because I was playing too loud and out of time and stuff like that. And then I kept on playing. And then he turned around a second time and he said, I hope you're wearing your asbestos underwear. Asbestos underwear, indicating he was about to burn me to ashes with his glance. And then I just kept on going. And the third time he just turned around and grabbed the wampus out of my hands. So And I once asked him if I'd ever be able to play the mridanga. Timing, whatever. And he said, sure, in your next life. So that's my musical career in a nutshell. I'm keep on trying. I'm stubborn. Bhagavad-gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna. Nidvanvo Nityasatvasto. Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna. Nirdvanvo Nityasatvasto. Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nistrigunya Bhavajuna. Nirdvanvo Nityasatvasto. Niyoga Kshema Atmavan. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna. Nidvanvo Satvasto. Niyoga Kshema Atmavan. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna. Nidvanvo Nijasatvasto. Niyoga Kshema Atmavan. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nyo Bhavajuna. Nidvanvo Nijasatvasto. Niyoga Kshema Atmavan. You lead it? Yeah. Can you lead? Yes. Trigunya Visaya Veda. Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna. Nidvanvo Nijasatvasto. Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Thank you. Do you know many Gita verses by heart? Okay. It's just a matter of practicing just regularly like this. So we're having every Tuesday night a class where and every class starts with reciting the sloka and then we elaborate. So thank you for joining us. Trigunya, pertaining to the three modes of material nature. Visayaha, on the subject matter. Vedaha, Vedic literatures. Nistraigunyaha, transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Bhava, be. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Nidvanvaha, without duality nityasattvastaha, in a pure state of spiritual existence. Niryogakshemaha, free from ideas of gain and protection. Atmavan, established in the self. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Please repeat. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Purport. All material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results, which cause bondage in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is Brahma Jigyasa, or questions on the supreme transcendence. All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom, advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of the Upanishads, which are part of different Vedas, as the Bhagavad-gita is a part of the fifth Veda, namely the Mahabharata. The Upanishads mark the beginning of transcendental life. As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities, such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna. Trigunyo Visaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna Nidvanvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Om Gyan Timarantasya Gananjana Shalaka Chakshushan Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpa Turubhischa Kripa Sindhuvayevacha Potita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're at text 45. There's 72 texts in chapter 2. Chapter 2 is just a contents of the Gita's summarized. Often an author will summarize the whole book, just in case you don't carry on, you don't get all the way through. And also to give an overview and to establish what is the end result, what's the idea, why he's writing the book. So chapter 2 is that sort of action, and it covers every element of the Bhagavad-gita. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Even in this purport, we hear about Karma Yoga, fruitive activities, material activities. Material activities are basically fruitive activities. Material means for a material goal. To maintain the body, to maintain the family, to maintain the house, they're material activities, unless they're performed beyond the three modes of material nature, transcendental to the modes of material nature. If you want to build a house and you want to be spiritual, transcendental, then build a temple. Build a house for God. So the activity is not the problem. It's whether it's material or spiritual. Material activities result in bondage to the material world. Spiritual activities don't have any material reaction. They're karma-free. They enable us to transcend the material world. While we are in the chapter of our lives where the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas guides us, appeals to us, calls out to us, then we're under the modes of material nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. We think we're the body. And the actions to maintain the body and the actions of the body, when they're not perfect, and they never will be, because the body is temporary, the difference between material and spiritual. Can anybody say? What is material and what is spiritual? Just one word. What is material? One word. What is spiritual? Spiritual is eternal. Okay, you got one word. Anybody else got the second word? What is material? Spiritual is eternal. Temporary. Yeah. So, vast difference between something which is temporary and something which is eternal. So that's the difference between material and spiritual. That's all you need to know. What am I doing? Am I doing material activities or am I doing spiritual activities? Am I spiritual or am I material? My body is material. It's temporary. Little body like that, then eventually it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually it'll fall down and it'll be time for a new body. So the body is temporary. What is the spirit? The spirit is the soul, the source of energy, which animates the material body, material world. The material world doesn't work unless there's a spiritual source of energy. The sun. The sun is not independent. The sun is under the guidance of the sun god, Vivaswan. And Vivaswan is subservient to Krishna. The sun rises at the right time every day and sets out of fear of the Supreme Personality of God. It says fear, but it means more like obedience. The sun could just... And at one stage the sun wasn't enough. So Prithu Maharaj, he decided to travel around the universe in his chariot, and when the sun was on one side, he was on the other side, and his glow was a second sun, so there was no darkness. But now we have, that was in the past, now the sun is there, and the sun, and we regulate our activities according to the sun. If we are more transcendental to the modes. Those people in the mode of ignorance, when the sun goes down, then they wake up and they get ready for partying. Whereas the spiritualist, the sun goes down, they prepare to take rest. So they can rise early in the morning before the Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta is the most auspicious time to engage in spiritual... At that time we come into the temple and we perform Mangalarti. Mangalarti, that's in accord with performing spiritual activities, spiritual sadhana. So the three modes of material nature, if we are entangled in the three modes, and I'm often saying we need to know how to work with the modes of material nature. The modes of material nature are not going to go away. They're the the laws of God. Ignorance, passion, and goodness. Tamas, rajas, and sattva. They're not going to go away. But rather than working under the modes, I don't want to wake up today. I'm too tired. No. Okay, I'm too tired. Well, I've got to get up because it's Brahma Muhurta. I've got to perform my activities, get on with the day, and then later I'll schedule some rest. When the modes are there, we should work with the modes, not under the modes. So while we're working under the modes, I've got to go to job, I've got to go to work, run. And then you work hard, intense, and you get a little bit of a pittance from the boss, and then you drive home, and then you go and engage in just some family business, and you take rest, and then do the whole thing all over again. So rather than being controlled by the modes, becoming transcendental to modes, and here there's that interesting word, when that chapter is finished, when it winds down, then we start to study the Vedanta, we start to look at the Upanishads. Before that time, there are the Karma-kandya texts. That's like Dharma Shastra, Nyaya Shastra, religious life, logic, reasoning. Those texts, they guide us. Okay, if you want to prolong your life, don't waste your energy, don't waste your breaths. Practice living without too much stress. Because the anxieties for gain and loss. Okay, you want to run, you want to do exercise, you want to perform something to make the body fit so it lasts longer. But when you're running, you're expending more breaths, so it's counterproductive. It's better to do some practical work, which is active, which keeps the body fit. We only need to keep the body fit enough so the soul stays in the body so we can practice spiritual life. We don't have to turn ourselves into supermen. So to work with the modes and to following the Karma-kanda section, that's to slowly elevate us. We practice those Karma-kanda regulations and we get good results. If we don't practice any sort of regulation, then we're just like animals. And animals if they've got a good master, then maybe they've got a good life. But if the boss is not good, an animal's life is hell. Even Lord Indra, when he became a pig, and he thought, this is pretty good, I want to stay here, he was threatened with being killed. So he decided, okay, yeah, I'm not satisfied here, I'm going to go back to my original position. So spiritual life and actually material life begins when we start to consult the Vedic scriptures and of the level of the Vedanta. The first aphorism in the Vedanta Sutra. Who knows what that is? Tato Brahma Jigyasa. Can you translate that roughly? Welcome to the human form of life. Now that you've inquired, jigyasa is to make inquiries about what is the nature of life. And the human beings do that. The animals, they can't question, they just accept. I'm hungry, all right, I'm hungry. It's raining, well, I'll turn my back and I just won't get so much water on my face. Animals can't do that. Animals are not sitting here. There might be some bugs in here, but they're not here for the purpose of tuning in to hear, to ask questions. So the human form of life is about inquiry. That's what makes us stand out from the animals. We have the rational thinking capacity. We're animals. Prabhupada often said, the rational animal. We're just animals, 2 arms, 2 legs, and the activities that every living entity has to perform, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We have to go through that procedure. We can be a polished cat or a dog, or we can be a refined human being. Refined human being means that they're trying to engage those activities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, for a spiritual purpose. eating Krishna Prasad, not eating abominable food, which is not even food most of the time. It's just taste stimulating, but it's not nourishing. It's not in the mode of goodness. Sleeping. When you are not stressed out, then and you have spiritual practices, then sleeping varies around 6 hours per night, and the amount of sleep is improved when you take rest early. The hours of sleep before midnight are equal to 2 hours of sleep after midnight. So taking rest early, after 6 hours, then rise. You have time for spiritual practices. But if you are living like an animal, then sleep is very dear. We were in India and we were involved in construction, and a lot of the workers, they would, even though they were supposed to be in the job, they would sneak off and sleep while they're working because they felt that they're making a profit. They're getting paid to work, but instead they're catching up on their sleep so they can engage in some other nonsense activities. Mating. Animals, they mate when the season comes. Spring is a mating season. But human beings should not be like that. They should engage in that activity for the sake of having or trying to conceive God-conscious children. Then that's a human. Krishna says, Dharma Viruddha Bhuteshu. Sex life on religious principles, I am that act. Whereas sex is something it's overrated amongst human beings. Amongst animals, it's much more regulated. It's much more controlled. Human beings are worse than animals. They've gotten out of control. Advertising and all sorts of weird stuff. And that's the modern age, Kali Yuga. And the last one, defending. There's so much tension between living entities. So at the drop of a hat, you can start to get involved in a fight. You can start to nuke another country. You can do all sorts of things in the name of defense. For what? Prabhupada wrote in the Bhagavad-gita in 1962, there was an altercation between Tibet and India over some uninhabitable land. But just for the sake of possession, then they're prepared to destroy so many people's lives. So defense, we defend by taking shelter of Krishna. We're not, somebody is going to attack us, and then we protect ourselves. Well, we don't necessarily. Jesus Christ said, you turn the other cheek. You're getting attacked, then you're not going to go ballistic on somebody else. You'll try and avoid it. But if you see another devotee being attacked, then you'll act like fire. So defense is proper. The Kshatriyas, they need to know how to protect from harm. So we can have some of those skills. So eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These are common activities to animals and humans. The human being should supposed to characterize. The characteristic of the human being is that they follow a higher principle. There's the Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So they're also just standard, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. What's Kama? Not karma, but Kama. That's karma. Kama is K-A-M-A. Yeah. Sense gratification. Yeah. So Dharma, religious activities, Artha, economic development, Karma, sense gratification, and Moksha, liberation. So generally and always, religious activities, they precede economic development. The founding forefathers of America, they were very pious. So they just went to another country where they weren't being persecuted, and they just performed their activities without being obstructed, and eventually prosperity came. And then once you're prosperous, then you have money put aside for enjoyment. You worked hard 3 months of the year, and then the rest of the time you're with your family and building houses and having a good time. And then when you get older and you're no longer capable, when the body starts to wear out and the senses are no longer vibrant, then you start to seek for moksha, liberation. But moksha is not the be-all and end-all. It's not. Moksha often is to achieve the heavenly planets. For the devotees who are transcendental to the modes, who are spiritual, they are aspiring for the fifth Purushartha. What's that? Spiritual world. Developing love for God. Yeah, that's what all religion's supposed to be doing. Learn to love God. So Lord Chaitanya, he described it as Prema Pumato Mahan. So the fifth goal is Artha. The fifth goal that we want to try and achieve is Prema, love for God. That's why we're here. We're here because we left the spiritual world. Our relationship with God there was a little tinge of envy. Now we're here and we're starting to wake up again and we want to go back. We want to fully develop that lost relationship. Right, so then the different scriptures. I was just reading the Mahabharata. The sages, they were describing certain realizations, certain states. And because the individuals, they can experience that. It's like personal experience. Just to quote verses and to say rules and regulations, that's okay, but the personal experience is much more significant. And then afterwards, the sage said, and it's also available in the Shastra. In the scriptures about Lord Chaitanya, the acharyas, the teachers, they state that there are two types of lover of God. Those who are there, the gopis, the family members of Krishna, they are experiencing love of God. And those people who read about it, then they're the other type of lover of God. They are experiencing by hearing through Shastra, called Shastra Chakshus, experiencing through perusing and absorbing and serving Shastra. So the Shastra that's recommended is the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra and Upanishads. The Upanishads are parts of all four Vedas. The Vedas have different parts. The Upanishads, the Aranyakas, the Samhitas, and the another fourth part, I can't remember. The Upanishads are the philosophical section. Before I joined up, my brother went to one of those Eastern bookshops, and somehow or other he brought home a copy of the Chandogya Upanishad, and I think maybe the Shvetasvatra Upanishad. And it was very interesting. It was, Sanskrit and writing, and the font looked interesting. I couldn't understand at all what it meant, what it was saying, but it was in our house. So to get access to the Upanishads, get access to transcendental literature, it's exceptional good fortune. And so when we can discover, when we can find out, when we can reach out, we can understand that these scriptures, they're available now due to the printing press and due to Prabhupada's amazing, epic austerity to day and night work on translating, presenting the authentic Vedic scriptures. He focused on a lot of different ones. The Srimad Bhagavatam was his magnum opus, his greatest achievement. Prabhupada, he did so many things. He opened temples, he initiated many disciples, and the most lasting and significant contribution he made to suffering humanity was his books, his Bhagavatam. So somehow or other, we've got access to it. And we need to touch it and to worship and to study and to internalize and to live. When we read the graduate from the Bhagavatam, it's about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it was said that he was the ultimate person who lived his life based on the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're following in his footsteps, chanting Hare Krishna and studying and serving, dancing, feasting. Krishna consciousness philosophy is very simple. Chanting, dancing, a little bit of refreshment, and a little bit of philosophy. That's the process. So party with good elements, very nice elements. It's very satisfying. We just need to learn how to get invited to the party, how to participate, how to serve, and then how to put on the same sort of parties ourselves. That's the simple process. And we will see the results. We'll see that we will become transcendental to the modes of material nature and will become free from the anxieties for loss and gain. Some of the early devotees, they were helping to maintain a temple, and in the early days there was no money. The Sunday feast, the devotees would go to the back of the supermarket or the back of the market, and they'd go through the bins and they'd pick up all of the rotten vegetables and cut off all the bad portions and then make something which they could offer and then serve up to the guests. And it's different stages like that. To even pay the rent was difficult. So one devotee, he understood that he was really behind, and he went and asked the treasurer, how much money have we got? And the treasurer said, we've got about $400. So he took that money and he went out and bought some earrings for Srimati Radharani. And then somebody came the next day and they donated $5,000, helped cover the rent and things like that. By putting Krishna first, by using that faith, then Krishna starts to look after us. So that happens too by living what we hear, and associate with the devotees, and we get confidence. Association of devotees help to give confidence and faith. This process works. Any doubts, we should discuss them. We should know whereabouts Krishna has discussed them in the Gita or in other works, and then we can take shelter. Sometimes there's a subject matter, and the index at the back, you look at the index in the back of all the books, then there's many different references to a particular subject. So something's bothering you, you ask a devotee, you can't get something satisfying, you go to the index and you check it out. Or you contact someone and you ask, you have a question. What do you understand? And not something speculative. Well, I've heard like this and it may be like this, but something substantial, something scriptural. Then we can feel confident. That's why we want to try and absorb, want to try and learn, want to try and hear, want to try and live, want to put into practice these teachings. So I'll just read the verse again. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Does anybody have any questions or any ideas? I hope I haven't confused you. What was I presenting? Three modes of material nature: Kama Kanda, Jnana Kanda, becoming transcendental. We're coming to a section, just before you're coming to a section in about 5 verses, where Arjuna asks Krishna, what does a transcendentalist look like? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he sit? How does he speak? So these are relevant questions.
Hare Krishna, thanks for the nice class. You're talking about the three modes of material nature and how they're not going to go away, and we have to, live with them. I was just wondering if you can, give examples as how we can sort of go about our days or living with an awareness of the modes and how to, navigate our way through the modes and how we can, live with the modes.
That's a good question. The platform which gives you the most confidence is to try and come to the mode of goodness, because the qualities of the mode of goodness are that one can see clearly, one is not in the darkness, and one understands one's energy, they understand when the other modes are coming. The Brahmana is the atypical example of somebody who is guided by and lives by the mode of goodness. So their activities, they're regulated. They're always absorbed in philosophy and teaching and giving and receiving charity and worshipping the deity and teaching other people how to worship the deity. And when worshipping the deity, the two major things that we can maintain are cleanliness and punctuality. So to apply those things in our life, then we can start to feel the effect of the mode of goodness and the impression of the mode of goodness. When those things are not there, when we're feeling lethargic and dreamy and or passionate and attached, then we can identify, because we have a standard, those things which are not up to scratch. And then when we feel those things, then we should not to test them, but we should adjust our behavior. Oh, this is happening like this. Mode of passion leads to distress, activities in the mode of passion. Then rather than continuing in this way, let me just stop, recharge my batteries, my spiritual batteries. Let me get on top of it again. Let me hear and chant a little bit. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. And mode of ignorance, well, again, just by cleanliness, you can avoid that. Understanding how much energy you've got, not trying to over-endeavour. Mode of ignorance it's a hangover, a leftover from our previous lifestyle. And so much mode of ignorance is there, actually. We're ignorant of the nature of God. We're ignorant of the nature of ourselves. We don't take the proper respect when we're in a spiritual environment. That's just ignorance. It's ignorance. You walk around the corner and you can see the deities. So rather than paying respect, you just ignore. Oh, there's Krishna. But as soon as somebody who's in the higher state, as soon as you become aware that you're in the presence of the temple, you're in the presence of Tulsi, you're in the presence of devotees, then respect should be there, and an adjustment in behavior. So ignorance is very not predominant. Yeah, predominant. The material world is based on ignorance. A little bit of passion is slightly better than ignorance, because at least you're motivated to do something. You start to try and achieve some results, trying to get some benefit, and you can employ those things in Krishna consciousness if you have some excess. So the modes, we have to study the modes. We have to, chapter 14, it's said to be one of the most confidential chapters, the modes of material nature. And if one understands this philosophy, then one is approaching success in life. So the modes, it's not something we just take for granted. They're very subtle. They're very easy to get tripped up by the modes, and they all have a fault. What's the fault of the mode of goodness? Pride, feeling better than others, complacency, because you can see a little bit more clearly. Yeah. So we have to be on guard to avoid those. Somebody like a Brahmana, they have to know how to work with people in the different modes. A Brahmana should know how to not disturb the minds of somebody who's more in the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. In the Vedic society, there's one Brahmana to 9 Kshatriyas, one Kshatriya to 9 Vaishyas, and one Vaishya to like 100 Shudras. So they have to be able to administer, have to be able to cater for the needs by proper guidance, proper advice, proper appropriate help at the right time in the right place. We should understand where we're at, and it's often said that the soul and spiritual personalities, they are beyond the modes of material nature. But that statement should be taken with a grain of salt. Are we 24/7 engaged in spiritual activities? Are we just aspiring Vaishnavas, or have we actually achieved the position of a pure devotee? That's what that's referring to. That a pure devotee is transcendental. But what sort of a devotee are we? There's that song by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Vaishnava K. What type of Vaishnava are you? Are you interested in false prestige? Are you interested in Pratishta? It's one of the most subtle coverings that we still need to overcome. As you said, pride, fame, like that. Is that okay? Study the modes. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati samasaveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. Not hankering or lamenting, then one can engage in devotional service. Brahma bhuta, that's for the liberation. Moksha is just liberation from the material energy. But the devotee, they aspire for Brahma Bhuta. It's a higher stage or a different quality of stage where you are actually engaged in what's called Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means a combination of karma and jnana. Karma Yoga, we understand we should offer the fruits of our activities, and Jnana Yoga means we should become detached. We want to practice meditation. So Buddhi Yoga is a combination of the two, where we are detached, but we want to work very, very hard in order to achieve some spiritual results which we can offer. Okay. Do you want to?
You briefly mentioned the parts of the Vedas like Upanishad, Aranyaksha, Samhita. Can you briefly explain what are these Vedas and what the scripture that you are learning, where they are situated among these Vedas?
Yeah. Just refer to another scripture. This is the Tattva Sandarbha, translated and put together by Gopi Parnadana Prabhu. Now, what do we want? Samhitas. Okay. Here we go. Krishna help. Vedic literature is divided into two main kinds of texts, Shruti and Smriti. There's a book, Unveiling His Lotus Feet by Burajan Prabhu. Have you seen that? It's a summary of the first 4 cantos. You've got it? So there's an appendix at the end which elaborates on all this. The Shruti and the Smriti. The 4 Vedas are considered Shruti, and each branch of each Veda includes Samhitas, collections of hymns and incantations, Brahmanas, interpretations of rituals, Aranyakas, elucidations of esoterics, and Upanishads, philosophical treatises. So that's the beginning. Then there's a lot more elaboration there. For instance, from an ordinary point of view, the language and contents of the Samhitas, especially the Rig Veda Samhita, seem the most archaic. The Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads seem to consist of speculations by later disciples over the meaning and purpose of the Samhitas. So each Veda has those areas of it. Just like people sometimes ask, okay, Karmakanda. Where do I find the Karmakanda section of the Vedas? It's all over the place. You have to extract it. You have to, I think, large percentage, 80 or 90% of the Vedas is about Karmakanda. So then to get like the 100,000 verses of the Mahabharata, 700 verses of that is the Bhagavad-gita. So the Bhagavad-gita, the Mahabharata is there just to encapsulate the Bhagavad-gita. So the same thing, these philosophical truths, they're there hidden within the Vedas, and you become qualified by purification, by the mercy of the spiritual master, and you get access to those things. So these different elements of the Vedas, the Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads, that's just a way of dividing. And then those particular elements, they have a particular purpose. We heard philosophical treatises, elucidations of esoterics, interpretations of rituals, and collections of hymns and incantations. So the Vedas is mostly about prayers. Different mantras that are recited at particular times for particular purposes. And the mantras are incredibly powerful. There's mantras, they don't do it nowadays because the Brahmanas are not qualified, but the fire yajna used to be that they would prepare, offer all the mantras, there'd be four different priests. One was in charge of this, another one in charge of this, and the fourth one was like the referee to make sure that everything was correct. And then to test that the mantras are actually correct, they would take an old animal, a cow or a horse, and they would offer it into the fire. Not animal slaughter, which is what people misuse the Vedas for, but just to prove that the mantras were effective, because offering the animal in should come out in a fresh young body. That's the power of mantras. Mahabharata talks about bringing people back to life. The Vedas have got science like that. They talk about liver transplants and kidney transplants. What about a brain transplant? Head transplant? What about somebody who's dead, bringing them back to life? So these are all sciences that are available in the scriptures. You have to become qualified to hear about them. It's said that only the Brahmanas should study the Vedas, but that just means people should come to the mode of goodness so you can understand it, so you don't misuse. And Prabhupada, he's elevated everybody to the level of aspiring Vaishnavas. By his mercy, by following in his footsteps, then we can actually get access and actually help to deliver the world by presenting these esoteric truths. Just chant Hare Krishna and your life will become sublime. So we were studying in Mayapur, we were studying all these amazing things, and we were thinking, well, are we ever going to use them? The higher levels of the philosophy. And then one time I was in a bus. In buses in India, you stand up and you're crammed right next to somebody. You're in a train and there's a bag inside there and it starts moving. There's a chicken inside the bag. It's just like a circus. So I was in a bus, and the person who was right there in my face, we started discussing the higher elements of Rasa Tattva. And it was a nice, so you never know what sort of situation you're going to be when you need to present the philosophy. So that's the reason why we're studying it. To be able to have some substance to present. And if we don't understand what we're talking about, if we get into a sticky situation, we should say, just hang on a moment. I know it's there. I'll come back to you. I'll just do some research. I'll ask somebody, and we can help you to understand those things from an authoritative point of view, because the authorities in the Vedas are a lot of impersonalists nowadays. So it's the Vaishnavas who need to continue doing what they're doing. Save the world. Hare Krishna. Okay, so Mahabharata, I talked with a few people, we want to try and start having Mahabharata evening. Just read through the Mahabharata. And because in Mayapur, they would just read through the Mahabharata with the students. And after a few years, they'd gone through 3 times, 4 times. The teacher, or the person who's speaking, become very well steeped and enlightened in the Mahabharata. And the students, they get enlivened. It's a wonderful culture that's being presented there. Veda Vyas. The Srimad Bhagavatam obviously is the penultimate. It's his natural commentary on the Vedanta. But before that, he wrote Mahabharata, the history of Greater India. And there's so many things. Our forefathers, Arjuna, he was called Tapati, and there's so many amazing things. Okay, so we'll work on that, getting the Mahabharata up and running. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Iva Jaya Jaya Ora Chande Karoti Koshoba Iva Jaya Jaya Ora Chande Karoti Koshoba Janavi Tantavane Jagamana Loba Janavi Tantavane Jagamana Loba Dakini Tai Chan Bame Gadadara Dakini Tai Chan Bame Gadadara Nikatiya Dvaita Srini Vasachatradara Nikatiya Dvaita Srini Vasachatradara Basi Yache Gaura Chan Ratna Simhasane Basi Yache Gaura Chan Ratna Simhasane Aroti ko Rena Brahma Adi Devagane Aroti ko Rena Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adi Kauri Chamaradulaya Narahari Adi Kauri Chamaradulaya Sanjayamu Kunda Vashu Gosho Adigaya Sanjayamu Kunda Vashu Gosho Adigaya Sankabaji Yanto Baji Baji Karatala Sankabaji Yanto Baji Baji Karatala Madura Mirdanga Vaje Paramarasala Madura Mirdanga Vaje Paramarasala Sankabaje Gantabaji Mado 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 Baje Sankabaje Gantabaji Madho Madho Madhavaje Sankabaji Gantabaji Madho Madho Madhavaje Sankabaje Gantabaje Madho Madho Madhavaje Madho Madho Madhavaje Madho Madho Madhavaje Bahukuti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujala Bahukuti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujala Aladishi Banamala Kore Jalamala Galadishi Banamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gadadara Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gadadara Bhakativi Noda Deke Gorara Sampada Bhakativi Noda Deke Gorara Sampada Kiva Jayu Jayam Gora Chandi Arotika Shobha Kiva Jaya Jaya Gora Chandi Arotika Shobha Jana Vitantavane Jagamana Labha Jana Vitantavane Jagamana Labha Urange Arotika Shobha Jagajana Manalabha Gorange Aratika Shobha Jagajana Manalabha Gorange Aratika Shobha Jagajana Manalabha Gorange Aratika Shobha Jagajana Manalabha Jagajana Manalabha Jagajana Manalabha Jayo Guruvanitai Jayo Guruvanitai Jayo Guruvanitai Jayo Guruvanitai Guruvanitai Jayo Guruvanitai Jayo Guruvanitai Jayo Guruvanitai Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine mam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Niveshesha Sunyavadi Pakastya Dasha Tarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Niveshesha Sunyavadi Akastya Dasha Harine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vaishali Gaura Bhakta Vinda Ya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Guruvanitai Jaya, Guruvanitai Jaya, Guruvanitai Jaya, Gauranitai, Guruvanitai Jaya, Guruvanitai Jaya, Guruvanitai Jaya, Guruvanitai Jaya, Radha Govardhana, Radha Govardhana, Sri Radhi, Radha Govardhana, Radha Govardhana, Sri Radhi. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura, Haribo, 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 Guru Haribo, Nitai Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura, Haribo. Can you say the prayers?
His Divine Grace, His Bhagavad-gita, Swami's Lord ISKCON Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Srila Haridasa Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavadam ki. Mayapur Dham ki. Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Ganga Maya ki. Yamuna Maya ki. Tulsi Devi ki. Samaveda Bhaktivedanta ki. Harinam Sankirtan ki. Priyatmanaga Book Distribution ki. Transcendental Prashad Distribution ki. New Govardhana Dham ki. Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bol. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to do the string and that praise now. We'll do the praise and the string and that. I'll just get some counties. Yato yato yamita to nishima. Oh yato yamita to nishima. Bahe nishima ridaya nishima. Nishima ridaya nishima. Nashima madim saranam prapadai. Shima madim. I'm playing cards. Prapadai. Savakara Kamalavare Naka
Ding dong.
Bhuta Swingam Dalita Hiranyakasipu Chano Bringam Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jajagri Sahare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Savakara Kamalavare Naka Maruta Swingam Dalita Hiranyakasipu Chano Bringam Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Nrsimhare, Jaya Nrsimhare, Jaya Nrsimhare, Jaya Nrsimhare. Nrsimhare, Jaya Nrsimhare, Jaya Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Gaurani Jai, Jaya Gaurani Jai, Jaya